This week, we had the opportunity to gather all the staff together. We do that a few times throughout the year. It's an opportunity to worship together and just kind of go through things that are coming up. This all staff was a little bit different. This was an opportunity for me to share with them some things that God has been doing in my heart.
23 years ago, we started South Hills Church, and about a year, or probably longer than that, probably a year and a half ago, I felt like the Lord was doing something in my heart. And then a few months back, I met with Moses, and I shared with him this. I said, I think it's time for me to step down as the lead pastor. And, well, I've already done this a couple times. I thought I was out of tears. This is a salty discharge. I felt like it was time for a new person to become the lead pastor. And it was a difficult conversation, and we talked many hours, and then we met again and talked more hours, and we met again and talked more hours. And each time I had to buy lunch. I don't know what that's all about. So we talked quite a bit, and then it was time to talk to the board. I wanted and needed the board to affirm what I believe that God wanted him to step into. And in my heart, I was confident that Moses needed to be the next lead pastor of South Hills Church.
I'll never forget when I first met Moses. It was 15 years ago, and he was an usher at the Corona Main Street campus. And he asked me some leadership questions, and I thought, boy, this guy's asking some great questions. And we set up an appointment. He comes to my office, starts asking me more questions. We went through the leadership book together. We met many, many times. That led to me talking to him about leaving his teaching career in the public school to becoming part of the staff.
That 15 years later would be the lead pastor that would take over for you. That's an amazing thing. Only God can do that. God has a way of seeing in us what we can't see in ourselves.
He's helped the church tremendously. I mean, we went from a few campuses to 13 campuses. Man, we've become more solid in our staffing. There's just so many wins that have happened under his leadership, and I believe with all my heart that the wins are going to even be greater in the future as he takes on this new role. There is this spiritual sort of things that happens. It happened quite a bit throughout the Bible where one leader would say, okay, my time has come to an end in leading in this way, and now this person is going to lead. And it was always known as a mantle, and I went ahead and I looked up what biblical mantle meant. It means inheriting another person's dreams and responsibilities. And that's what Pastor Moses is doing. 23 years ago, started South Hills with a dream of reaching the unchurched. And now he's taking that mantle, that baton, and continuing to run and fulfill that dream.
It's a little baton. I love what it says. Your race begins now. And South Hills Church 2021. And I'd love for you to hold on to this, and somewhere down the road you'll give that baton to someone else and you'll just change the date. But it's a baton to you just to say that the mantle is now yours.
As you can imagine, the news was absolutely shocking to me at first, just because I have always just said yes to God in whatever role he had for me. And as I sat and just listened to God's voice, it was just this calm reminder that it was the dream and the vision that attracted me to South Hills from the very beginning. I wanted to be a part of a place that not only was going to feed my soul, was going to draw me closer to Christ, but I also wanted to be a part of a church where I would never be afraid to bring a guest. It didn't matter what Sunday it was always going to be a Sunday that was going to be impactful to their life.
So there was a time where one of my good friends in high school, her family had brought in a girl into their home, and she had a really rough story. Grew up in a group home, had been hurt drastically from people, and she had never been to church before. And as she walked in, she looked different. And one of the ladies there, as she walked in, she said, "Excuse me, at this church, we dress in our best." I'll never forget the look on her face. And the look on her face was like, here we go again. I'm not good enough. I don't fit in. Why did you bring me here? And so when I heard about this church called South Hills, and I walked into the service, and I was absolutely blown away with how intentional South Hills was with making sure that anyone who walked through these doors would feel loved, welcome, wanted. And so I just want to say thank you, because your heart, your vision, your dreams that you talked about was what was in my head and my heart. And I am honored, absolutely humbled and honored that you would think of me to be the guy, to be the next leader, to run with your dream. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for believing, for trusting, and for wanting to see people win.
South Hills will always be the place where it's going to be safe to invite a guest. And not only that, you can count on them having the experience of a lifetime. You may be wondering, how does Pastor Chris stepping down from being lead pastor and me stepping into being the senior pastor, how does that affect you? You know, your campus pastor is going to continue to speak. Obviously, I'll have to bring somebody else in to run the operations of what I was doing, and I'll be stepping in into the visionary of where we're going, what we're doing, how can we continue to do ministry in bigger and greater ways. And so we're excited to see unchurched people come to know Christ, cross the line of faith, give their life to God, and see who God has in store next to make a difference in God's kingdom.
So I'm excited about the future. It has been an amazing 23 years being lead pastor, and the next 23 are going to be even greater, because God always calls us to better. And I am just so excited about my new role, being able to expand South Hills and to serve with Pastor Moses, but also to serve him now as the lead and senior pastor. And I want to encourage you to do the same. Pray for Pastor Moses and Jill. It is a new role for them, and it comes with some mixed emotions and fears and all sorts of things. I just encourage you to get behind them, love on them, pray for them, and believe God with all of our hearts together that the future is going to just surpass anything that's happened in the past.